Hello there, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to come your way this very beautiful Monday morning. How was your weekend? How was it? Was it as busy as mine and as exciting as well? Whatever your weekend looked like, it's a new day. It's a brand new day and a brand new working week. So let's get to it right away. And today, still continuing on intellectual property like we started last week, I still have with me in the house a lawyer who has all the competences to discuss this matter. And today we are going further to discuss domains. So today, receive with me on the Knox to Nugget platform for the second time back to back, Enter Ekpiken. Enter, good to have you in the house.
Thank you very much, and it's great to be here again. And thank you for having me. I'm really grateful.
Thank you so much for coming real back to back. You know, one thing on Knox to Nuggets is the reward for good work is more work. Every time you do well, get ready. We are coming back again. So maybe there'll be a part three sometime in the future, not immediately. But today we're talking about domains. And I'm wondering, domains, what's all about domains? I mean, I have a domain, my domain name is so and so, and for me, that's all. What's there to know about domains?
Okay, so the quick one is it's like domains are also like owning trademarks, names that identify you. So you can go onto the internet and own a domain with your name. It's your name, it identifies you. So it's really the same thing. But as similar to trademarks and the disputes that we have there, where people register people's names, people register people's confusing, there's also a system that regulates that whole business, that whole process of owning and keeping and maintaining domain names. So take for instance, I have a name and I just want to keep it for a while. And maybe I'm having business discussions with people about that name, and everybody likes the name. Somebody in bad faith can go on to own that name, and then when it's time to start the business in a dispute and the person doesn't want to release the name, so you really can't, because you want a name for your trademark that tallies with your domain name, that tallies with everything, because all of these things must synchronize. You don't want to go to take for instance, you shop on Amazon and their domain name is something else. It won't work. So you want to have a name that goes with your trademark, that goes with your identity. So that's what domains is all about. And there's also a system that ensures that there's that it works well, because as much as in trademarks and intellectual property that most of the ones that you see, there will be disputes. People will do things in bad faith. So it's the same process. So we'll just get right into it. I'm just going to talk about that system that regulates, all the domain names. So we all know that there's a .com, and the .com is regulated by the International Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So they are the ones that deal with the .coms. And if there was a dispute, ICANN takes care of all of those disputes. Then Nigeria did something, when, of course, we we started being aware of all of these things. There's now the .ng. The .ng is taken care of by the Nigerian Internet Registration Association. It's a non-for-profit association. Of course, it has funding from government and regulates, all the .ngs. I have a .ng for my name. It is regulated by NIRA. And what NIRA has simply done is that it has taken the same things that has worked on the ICANN system. ICANN has a uniform dispute resolution policy that it adopts. NIRA has brought it and also has its own its own dispute resolution, so that whatever you have with the .com, you can also have it with the .ng. And it generally just mirrors that. and it makes it very seamless. If I go today and I have a trademark for a name, and I go and I check to go and get a .ng for it, and I find that somebody has already registered it for whatever reason, I'll go
Yeah.
to NIRA and lodge a complaint, and NIRA would has different options. So first of all, the grounds for lodging a complaint will be that the domain name, the name that you're still to register or that is already registered, is similar, identical, or confusingly similar. So take for instance, and by the end of this, as we go along, I'll give a real case, but I'm going to change the names because, of course, there's privacy to these things. Where another company decided to register something that was so close to this other company to be able to take advantage of the goodwill of this other company. So of course, grounds for petitioning NIRA is to say that this domain name is identical, confusingly similar. You have a trademark for it, and this other person doesn't have. So on that basis, and you just say that there is really no reason why this person for bad faith. There's also a reason. You can also cite bad faith as a reason to petition NIRA to take out. So NIRA at the end of its process has 4 options. I think 2 or 3 options, which is they could either transfer that domain name to you, they could cancel it altogether. So they have those options. So you have to actually state what you want. Do you want it to be cancelled, or do you want it to be transferred to you? So take for instance, that in Nigeria, of course, there's some things that do not meet morality, and so I had a client one time. This is for trademark. I had a client one time who wanted to register Fat Bastard. The registry said no. And it's the same thing if you go and have a domain with such. I can petition on the grounds of that it is offensive, for what to be doing such, so this sort of rules as it applies to our nuances, in the country. NIRA helps to protect this. I could petition that, and then of course, because sometimes this domain name can really, really be popular, I would petition that it is offensive,
Really?
So yes, those are the sort of things. Yes, and if I have good reasons, it may be cancelled. It can be cancelled.
That's interesting.
But you just have to bring up your good reasons, and it will be considered.
Is that not subjective?
So it's so the NIRA says bad faith, morality, all of those things. It is subjective. So there will be a panel of one adjudicator, because it's an alternative dispute means, and then there will be 3 experts who will consider it. So of course, it's not going to be on your say so, So you would bring in your good reasons, and if it is considered subjective, then nothing would happen. The domain name continues, but you have a right to complain that this is either confusingly similar, this is offensive, this is so somebody could go and register a domain name that says entire is something. I have a right to complain that you're using my name with something. You have a right to complain, and of course your reasons will be heard and listened to, and then the body will decide. But what NIRA has done, the whole mechanism of that the NDRP is so that people don't go to court, because going to court is very expensive, time consuming. Yeah. So it gives you a system where you can lodge your complaint, and NIRA says that has a policy that after when you've submitted all your your documentation, judgment must be given in 14 days. For ICANN, which is administered by WIPO, they've said that all processes must be concluded in 60 days. So in 60 days, it will be concluded. So it's fast, it's easy. So it has been very, very successful. it has been very, very successful. So there's ICANN that deals with, you know, your .coms, and then there is NIRA that deals with your .ng. So it's a very seamless process, you
But
know.
I'm wondering, before you go on, you talked about .com and .ng. What about the .org, .net? There's so many dots these days.
ICANN, yes, yes, it's ICANN. You know, ICANN does with all of the international dots, right? But once
Okay.
it comes into you know, .ng, you know, for Nigeria top level, it is dealt with by and so what ICANN has actually done is that they have just reproduced these rules everywhere. It is very simple for you to get someone to deal with your disputes. They're all online. It's very easy. If I have a dispute, it can be resolved within 1 week. It's very easy. It's as easy as, in fact, as easy as anything. You just lodge your complaint, and I can take care of it. Either transfers the domain to you if you're saying that it is your rightful name, or cancels it if it was done in bad faith. So take for instance, like, you know, when I was talking about trademarks, where people go abroad and see nice names abroad
Yeah.
and bring it into Nigeria, and those people haven't come into the country yet. They bring
Yeah.
it into the country and wait for okay, so of course this was a case that I handled in the past. Before, International House of Pancakes is not in Nigeria, but guess what? Nigerians went abroad and brought it to Nigeria and registered it as a trademark, you know, and the company wasn't here. The company reached out to say, look, we want this name. People, it's cancelled. So in that case, since it was trademarks, it was cancelled, and you know, because these guys didn't have a right to register International House
So,
of Pancakes.
so even though they were not in Nigeria yet,
Mhm.
they could still petition Nigeria and say it's our name.
Yes, yes,
So I
yes,
cannot
on the
claim that
trademark.
I slept, I had a dream, I got an
No,
inspiration.
no, 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 no. You can't. And it's the same thing that happens to domains. What people do is they now go. You can now go abroad. Of course, you've seen the .com. You now come here and you want to register it as the .ng. NIRA is not going to allow you to do that because it already exists. You know, why are you stealing? On what basis? Are you and even if they do allow you to register it, the other guys can petition and ask that it is cancelled or transferred to them. So you see most international corporations go all. So if you even try to do Coca-Cola.ng, it's not available because Coca-Cola has done all of those things. You know, that's why, of course, which is what I said from the beginning, you know, even last week. That's why they go hand in hand. The right owner has to be diligent. You have to check everywhere as you continue to grow bigger. You have to go to because every country has its own, you know, top level. So
Wow.
if you register a company, so there is, if I wanted to register a company in have a domain name in, let's say, even Denmark, there's .de or so. So you go there, you make sure, because somebody can decide to own it, you know. But of course, these rules are they've tried to infuse these rules that the country top level and the international .coms, you know, let's not have chaos, you know. So there's a
Mm.
system that ensures that there's no chaos in the system. And of course, one of the things that it is stressed under this dispute resolution mechanism is that it has to be fast and quick, because things are quick on the internet. So you can resolve these disputes quickly, but sometimes in a week, sometimes in days. These disputes are resolved because once everybody, you know, why do you want to register this name? Once they ask you, they send the documentation. What's your right to this name? Give it to me. And you don't show your rights, it's cancelled. Okay, so let us even now go on to have owning an app. So take
Yeah.
for instance, so on the Google Play Store, you go and you want to own an app. It has to go through a process that shows that whether that name or a similar name exists. If it exists, you're not going to own it. So so not to mention names. So I was involved in in a very important, in fact, it's a well-known international company. They wanted to launch, but guess what? The other company already had an app for. But okay, take for instance, Amazon. Let us not even use Amazon. So you know that Apple is for. No, let's not use Apple. I'm trying to think of. So you have an app that does with this name. It does maybe what your services is for in another sector. Then somebody wants to use that same name to have an app for something different. No, it won't work. It
Mm.
won't work. No, no, it won't work. So the of course iOS is going to ask to for you to show
Proof that
bring
it's
in
yours.
trademark. In fact, we're not going to have an app without showing evidence of trademark registration.
Mm.
No, for that name, that you have a right to that name.
Wow.
You won't be given. And then if your logo is similar to another person's logo, you know, of course, the app system also has that process where the two of you can talk over it. Okay, so like in a case of the one I just handled, like I mentioned names because it was quickly resolved. You know, my client was LegalX. One of was using LegalX here in Nigeria, and there was already an American company with LegalX. Although they were not doing the same things, I think one was doing something for different services. She wanted to have an app for legal services, LegalX. They wrote to say, all right, so let's do it this way. You must limit yours to, you must actually specify that yours is for Nigeria, services in Nigeria, and you have to be specific. And please, why don't you change the name a bit? First of all, they were saying, change the name altogether. We're already Legal X in Nigeria, although we don't do legal things. I think they were doing something else. We went back and forth, showed our reason. We have trademark. Our trademark was um, was accepted, and all of that. But at the end of the day, I think how we resolved it was the fact that she was limited for just Nigeria, and it was the Google Play Store. But the iOS didn't accept it because there was already a legal X. So you
Ah.
see, these things, there are rules and there are systems, and once you go into that domain space, it doesn't, it's very well organized. It is very
Mm.
well organized, but the key thing, like I said, is um yes. I'm just looking at a question here. Can we take that question?
Yes,
In
please.
aggressive competitive markets, isn't there a high chance of dubious claims and petty lodgings? Yes, yes, there is. But it's like in dispute resolution. Once all the facts are clear, the facts are clear.
But
And go on,
enter.
sorry.
You're saying the facts are clear, the facts are clear. But some people just go and buy up a name and wait for when you will need it.
Yes,
Maybe you have
yes.
registered yourmuted.com and then it
Mhm.
expires, you don't renew. Some people just go and buy it up. And then when you want your name back, they tell you it's for $4,000, for $40,000.
It's a very easy process. We will put it to the dispute resolution mechanism. Why do you just want to own it so that when I come back to you, you sell it to me for high price? No, we're going to take it from you. You really don't have a reason to do that. It's not allowed. So yeah, those systems exist. Yes, people do those things. If you allow the system to, so in fact, even thinking about things that expire. Last year, we had a domain. We were doing a conference. We had a domain. It was registered. We didn't renew. By the time we went to use it this year, it wasn't available. Somebody had, but we quickly got it back. And some people just don't touch some people's matter. They'll get it back. Why do you that you went to go and renew it and own it? Why? On what basis? You're trying to rip off the fact that I have made that domain popular. Why do you want to take mine? There's so many
Hmm.
names in the world. Come up with
Wow.
yours and make it popular. So yeah, there's a whole system that regulates that, and of course that's ICANN. And then for Nigeria, there is there's the NIRA that does all of those things. Also on the apps and the Google Play Store also regulates all of that. You just can't go and steal somebody's name and say you want to own an app with it or have a confusing similar name. So there's a process in place to take care of all of those things. But like I've always said, right holders have to be diligent. You have to be diligent to look out for infringement. You know, look out for infringements. Make sure that your all your intellectual property rights are maintained. You have to do yearly maintenance, at least for your domains. Of course, it's every year, so you have to ensure that it is you renew as often as possible. Every year you have to renew these things. As you continue to own them, you have to be vigilant. You just can't allow things to lapse, except you want it to lapse, right? So that's it. So it's really on it's really
Answer.
yes, ma'am.
There are certain times when you see yourmuted.com is a different company. Yourmuted.net is somebody entirely doing something different. Yourmuted.org, somebody doing something entirely different. But it's all Yourmuted.
So you can get that resolved.
But why is it even allowed? Because if you go on whois.net now and say want to register a name, they tell you, oh, yourmuted.com is not available, but
Mm-hmm.
yourmuted.net is, yourmuted.tv is, yourmuted.this is. So they're actually even suggesting to you to pick up all of those names.
Yes, but if you want to go and ask who owns those things, and put a dispute resolution a dispute resolution mechanism at work, you can get back those names. Why are you registering your mu if you are not the person? If you don't have a legitimate right to it, you can get it back. There's a system in place to ensure that you get it back.
Okay, let me worsen it for abbreviations. So maybe my
Okay.
name is Yomi and I decide to register yu.net and I've registered it. Then somebody else says my own is not
So
Yomi, my
that
own is young you and does yu.co. Both of us are
those names
YUY.
those names are generic, so no one person can own it. So that one is now going to be first to do .net or .ng. But when it is now specific, something that
Okay,
is known, then you have to show a reason as to you can get it back if somebody um and sometimes there could be two or three you're muted. Whoever does theirs first owns it.
okay, okay. So
Yeah,
it's
that's how
stronger
it
for
works.
specific names, the generic ones. You can have them in all
Yes.
the .co, this,
Yes,
dot that.
yes, and you don't want to own a domain that is very easy. You don't want to own a domain that is not unique. So it's the same thing with trademarks. You want a unique domain. You want something that is unique and that identifies you too. So you just don't want to do your initials, because anybody can own your initials. You
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
want something that
So
is, except that's how you want it. And then you have to now go and own it on .ng, .org, .com, and then that it is
and
really
spread it all
yours.
around. Mm,
Exactly, exactly.
wow. Still on domains, is there a difference between a .com and .ng? Is there a difference? Is there, why would I want a .net and not a .com? Is there anything different, or is there any
It's just
implication?
so those dots were just to give people options. So if I see a .ng, I know that it is for Nigeria. Your business is in Nigeria. You operate in Nigeria. That's it. But if I see a .com, I know that of course your business is more international. So everybody wants a .com because it is global, right? But if you have a .ng, you know that it's just for your business operates in Nigeria. You are local, you are national. And net is also the same thing. It's also more generally, of course, international.org is also international, and all of that. Most of those, the dots, the last actually just says where you are. Of course, if you're in Switzerland, they have their own Denmark DE,
Mhm.
South Africa's co.za.
Exactly.
Those country exactly those countries have their own. So it really just depends. Sometimes, like there was time I was trying to register something, it wasn't available in .com, but it was available in .ng. So you take that and you go with it. Really, it's just to give people options. It's just to give people options. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So we've learned so much. If you have a business out there and you are registering your name, try to be unique. I'm taking that away. Don't just go look for ooa.com. OOA can be anything. Try to be unique, try to be creative, try to get names that people will actually envy and you can own and defend in that space. Inter, before I let you go finally this time around, still on those domain names. So I've registered a .ng. Does that mean I cannot play in the international space? It's .ng. Yes, it's not Nigeria, but tomorrow I move to the US. Does that mean I have to go and look for another dot for something? Or can't I just
No,
continue my .ng?
you can continue your .ng. It's
So
that's
it's not
where it is.
restricted.
No, it's not restrictive. Anybody anywhere in the world can sit down and look for your website or wherever it is and find it. It's just like I said, choice and options that are available. It's just to give you options.
I'm
That's
smiling
all.
because a very naughty thought is in my head. That's why I'm having this mischievous smile on. So I have this name. Can I not be futuristic? So okay, everybody is going into the metaverse. So if I just can think into the future and think of a name somebody would need in the future, can I not buy it up and own it and wait for the
That's
person
what
to
I'm
need it?
saying. That's what
And I will
people
let
do. And when it's time, yes, and when it's time, the person would either decide to pay you if the person wants it quickly, or the person will put it through the dispute resolution mechanism to say, why did you do it? And that's actually bad faith. And that's an evidence, show evidence of bad faith that you bought it to own it to keep and sell. Come on.
it's business now. What's bad faith about trying to do a business? In the
No
Nigerian
problem.
context, it's business. I
No
am
problem.
being
No,
capitalistic.
no, yeah, that's fine. If you're going to use it to do business, you're buying it up. When it's time for it to be sold, you can sell it for good price, but it can't be exorbitant. It can't be for, it's really bad faith. And if you put it through the dispute resolution mechanisms, if ICANN finds that, yeah, there should be it will be transferred. So of course
Wow.
you want to keep it for a good price. I can say these domains are for $1,000. You pay me my $1,000 and I move on, which is what most of them cost: 1,000, two
Yeah.
thousand, three
Yeah.
thousand. Yeah,
Mm.
and you just buy it and it's transferred to you, and
Wow.
that's it.
So in it all, it's your responsibility to watch after your right, responsibility to watch
Yes,
after your property, your footprint, even in the digital space. So it's your call,
yes.
it's you to look out for it. Thank you so much, Insight. It's been very educative. Last week and this week has been awesome. Thank you so much. So now I can take your final words.
Which was the same thing I said, similar to the same thing I said last week. So, it's a tough world that we live in. You have to be vigilant. You have to understand your business and the environment that you play in. You have to really, really understand it and surround yourself with people that will help you to continue to move your business. You don't know it all, but you can have people that are able to advise you to give you advise you and ensure that you do not get burnt or fall into these mistakes. You have to have I always say, get a lawyer for everything. Lawyers that help protect you. Of course, there are finance lawyers, there are different kinds of lawyers. Just surround yourself with all of those people to ensure that you don't fall prey to most of these things, because they're very easy and very small. And because we're talking about intellectual property here, you have to surround yourself with a knowledgeable intellectual property lawyer that will help you to navigate most of these pitfalls. And it's really not expensive. It's not. Someone who advice is advice. You give it advice sometimes can be given free. It's really your choice to either take the advice or not. It's in the implementation of that advice that sometimes, the money part of it. But giving you advice sometimes is easy. So please surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable to help you navigate your business, and the things, whatever it is you're looking to do.
Wow. Thank you so much, Inta. I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate the input. I appreciate the value you have added to Knox to Nuggets. Thank you so much. And like I always say, we will be back. Thank you so, so much.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Wow, that was educative. That was amazing. In case you are wondering what's your take home for this, first and foremost, be vigilant. All of this intellectual property, the domain, the trademark, they're your property. The same way you will not put your dollar on the street and tell God to watch over it, watch over your intellectual rights as well. Be vigilant. Whatever market you are playing in, understand that market. Every market is unique, every market is specific. Understand it. When we're talking about franchise, you heard Okwe talking to us about understanding that space. You can't go into any business ignorant and think you will build a legacy. Understand. And like Inter kept emphasizing, Okwe too did, Basi also did. Have the right support, have the right people around you, have the right professionals around you, have the right lawyers, and they are not expensive. Have them as friends. They will do so much for you pro bono. But when you need to pay, please be ready to pay. Be ready to give value when you get value. Don't be an FOB person. Everything must be free. Everything must be free on board. Sometimes you need to pay for these things. That's why they are there. They are professionals too. Engage the right professionals. It could be more expensive if you try to do it alone. You might fall into ditches that you need much more to get you out. And she said it, and I want to re emphasize, please stay on top of your game. The way things are changing, it's so rapid. You can't think you've gotten it all. Stay on top of your game. Keep educating yourself. Keep getting better. Know something about everything around you, but try to know everything about your own space. Own that space, fill the space, and stay on top. Like I will always say, if you can think it, you can be it, and you can have it. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on this call. Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you, Deroju. Thank you, Shegun. Thank you, Ininform. Everyone, Julie, all of you on the call. I say a very big thank you. I truly do appreciate you. And for those that will watch after, thank you so much. Like I will always say, please like the video, share it, let somebody know that there is Knocks to Nuggets out there on YouTube. And we are on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook. We're just there. Share this video, let somebody know that we exist. And until I come your way next week, Monday, please never forget it. Yes, Auntie Deroju, did I miss that? Thank you so much for being there all the way from, you understand. Thank you very much. I understand. I appreciate you. And to every single person, until I come your way next week, Monday, another edition of Knocks to Nuggets, here is me telling you, together we win. God bless you. Have a wonderful working week ahead. Bye for now.